Greetings all, and welcome to this demonstration of how to create a frequently asked question blog versus using the discussion board within Blackboard. My name is Stacy Hairston, and I'm a full-time instructor in the Health Information Technology program. I have been using frequently asked question blogs for quite some time since many of our classes are currently online, and this allows that open communication outside of the classroom. What I have put together is a comparison of using a frequently asked question blog versus a discussion board within my course. So a frequently asked question blog would be used similar to a blog that you see and many of you may have used on social media that provides just open communication. No grades are given for their responses on the blog. Responses don't show up in needs grading. So an example of what would go on the blog would be any helpful tips that would provide assistance in studying a particular subject matter, or if something was covered within the reading or on the assignments and a student wasn't clear, wanted to ask a question about it, that could be put on the blog. If there is a question about the assignment that they didn't understand or it's miswritten incorrectly on the listing of things to do, anything related to the course that's not personal that usually students would email will go on the blog. This allows all students to see what that question is. Maybe they have clarification, or maybe that's how they feel as well, to promote that engagement for students. The big thing is it doesn't show up in needs grading, which we know all assignments show up there. So if we compare it to a discussion board, discussion boards are usually assigned and a grade is given for their response. I use discussion boards more so for critical thinking questions. If there is a case that I want to reinforce their understanding with a concept that was discussed within the reading material or on their assignments, then I would use the discussion board for that and make certain type of requirements for their response related to that discussion board item. And every time a student responds, if it's responding to my question or responding to another student, it shows up in the needs grading link for me to look at. That doesn't happen with the blog. So the instructor has to make sure that they're checking that blog on a frequent basis in order to ensure you're responding in a timely manner, or to see what other students responded to what was put out on the blog to make sure that it's just accurate. So it allows them to engage more. And I find that if I put it on the blog or I look out there and students have had their own conversation on the blog, it shows that they are more engaged within the course. So I'm going to walk you through how you would create a blog within Blackboard. This is one of my shells for a course that I would have in the fall. And to create a blog, this is the shell, and these are all of the links that will come when you are creating your course. You would just go to this home page, go to the plus symbol, and then go to tool link. Here you can then create a name or whatever you want to. I usually label mine frequently asked question, helpful tips blog. And what you need to do under the type is click the drop down box, click blogs, and hit submit. Okay, so then your blog shows up here. And when you create the blog, then you would click on it and you will see here is a blog. To direct students on how to use the blog, I usually create a blog that then they would go in and link to. So here I'll just label it the same thing, frequently asked question. Helpful tips blog. And here I would type something as use this blog to ask questions or provide helpful tips, okay? So I kind of put some instructions, and you can put whatever instructions you want to put in there as far as professionalism or anything else that you want to include for the students to note. Make sure the blog is available. Here, I do not allow any anonymous comments. I want all students to be able to say what they need to say, and this just allows everyone to be accountable for their responses. And then I would set it up usually weekly, and I'm going to show you kind of what that looks like. When it's weekly, I'll allow users to edit and delete their entries. If they made a mistake, to go back in and change it. And here with a blog, so I don't use the blog for grading, but if this is something that you want to associate with grading, this could be a place where your students could go and in another format. If you think of things that you do in the classroom and you want to kind of switch it to more of not a discussion of a certain topic, but just in general other things, you can add grades to those responses, but I choose not to, okay? And then submit the blog. So when the students respond to the blog, so this is what it would look like if they click on it. And how it would work is all students could come in here and then they could create a blog entry. So now what I want to show you is actually one of my active classes in what the blog looks like for the students' use. So I'm switching to the student view so you can just kind of see what they would see. So here you see, here's our frequently asked question helpful tips blog. So when the students log in, it actually looks like this. For them to view, and this is where we titled that frequently asked question helpful tips. And you could put multiple blogs out here on certain topics or different things, but this is how I use mine. You would click on it, and notice here is the blog. There is already an entry out there, and so you would, if there were multiple students, you would click on this blog, details, and then it will show all of the users. Here I made an entry for all the students, and here is the entry that I made back. This was for my summer school class, and if students wanted to comment, they could click here and they could comment here. So it's a really helpful tool, and you can index it by the month or you can index it by the week, and then all of those responses would be listed here. It's really helpful to eliminate a lot of emails coming to the instructor that is related to the course that usually in a in-class setting you would address as maybe housekeeping items or some other things to really help the students know the expectations of the course, or even to clear up maybe some misunderstanding about something that was discussed in class. So this is how I use my blog. Hopefully it is helpful to you in expanding the engagement with your students.